Alright everyone, took a while, but finally figured this out. I'm going to make a longer YouTube video, but I'll just make a short one just to put on TikTok, on Instagram for people to try to learn from this. I did a lot of research. It's actually pretty hard to find any information, so I'll quickly go over what I had to do and what's available. To install the Stedi lights that I purchased, first, I tried to do it with the stuff from the OEM Toyota. Mine is a 1966, so definitely this style would not fit. I even tried to bang the back in order to try to make it fit through the radiator. This is the very first version. I'm going to kind of go over all the versions just because there's not much information online. Very first one, there's the cone, there's a ring, and then this pretty much goes over the top. This is, after that, it came this version, which is you're going to have this plate that goes in the inside, the outside of the bib. You're going to have this guy that kind of holds everything together, and this that will hold the light through, and you're going to have a spring mechanism to be able to adjust it. And then the last one is just pretty much the newer version, which is just these two. You put it on, have the screws, and then you have the spring holding everything together. Because the bezel on this, it's very close to the bib and the space is very small within tolerance. It has to be perfect in order for it to work. I actually ended up going with this version because a friend of mine mentioned this is from Harley Davidson or Jeeps. It's a bracket that they use for their vehicles. I bought it online. You can buy it on eBay, Amazon. I bought the more expensive version just because I was scared that the tolerances wouldn't match. When you put it on, it slides like a glove and it's a perfect fit. I'll quickly go over just how I did it. If you see here, what I had to do is I had to re-drill the holes, and then I used nut inserts. They're nice and fixed into position. Put some screws that don't rust. 2 holes are already there. I had to put a 3rd hole there in order for the springs to go through. How this works is it has a bracketing system that sits like this, which is a lot nicer in my opinion. As you see, this is a lot more sturdier. It's going to last you a lot longer. Pretty much you put the springs through this. Once the springs are through, another thing that I had to do, I'll show in the longer video, this wouldn't fit directly through the light. I had to bend it a bit in order for it to make the adjustments. So pretty much you just bolt these in here like that, pushing them down, and see what that does. It creates almost like a little platform for it, and also the springs, so you can adjust however you need to adjust in order that the lights point wherever they need to point according to your lift or whatever it is that you have for your suspension setup. I think this is a better setup. There was no cutting necessary, just drilling. See that? That's for the vibration. So when you're out in the bush and you have a lot of vibration, whatever the case is, the light doesn't break. You see I can put the bezel in. And look at that, very close tolerance. That's how it'll look. That's kind of like the final project.